All right, so here we go. The Mustang is on the scales. Let's see what it weighs. Oh my God, guys. That is ridiculous. That is exactly why I built this car right there. That is exactly why. I'm gonna reveal some of the other parts of this car, like the inside of it and what we did in there. And then I'll do a little more reveal of the turbo setup and the engine setup. So we have two winners on the guessing as far as the weight goes. The 1958 guy named Lewis from Instagram, and then there was a YouTube comment from a guy named Gabriel. So their screenshots are here. You can see John's back here working on fab work and mounting the Motec dash and the Motec keypad. You can see he has the entire roof skin off. We haven't fully attached that yet, so that gives him some room to work there. I'll go over here, because you can't really see the inside of the car like this in the other video I took with the roof on it, so you can kind of see it a little more naked. Ow, that hurt. So we got a shift light now, we got a dash, and then the keypad will be up here. And then we're gonna mount the battery in the trunk area. But yeah, it's coming along. We're getting there. John's been working pretty much nonstop the last, 4 weeks on this thing, I would say. Just finishing up all the little things like the fuel lines, the oil lines for the dry sump, everything. Like, there's just so many little things you wouldn't believe the amount of money that was spent in fittings. And Red Horse sent me a whole bunch of cool stuff fittings wise for the car as well. And I'm working with Doug Cook at Motion right now to get some wheel speed sensors for the front. So it's all coming together. We've probably got another 2 or 3 weeks, maybe more, left in it before we can send it for body work. The only thing that it won't have right now is like fluids, so like oil, water, fuel. So that will be added, and I think I'm missing a drive shaft. So on top of that weight right there, probably figure maybe another 70 pounds or so will be the actual finished weight, which is crazy difference in that than the overall weight of the cars. So we can talk a little bit about how much ET that should gain me. So in the last video, I revealed the car, but I didn't really show everything about the car, engine-wise, chassis-wise. But I want to explain why I did certain things on this car and why we took a certain path, and that path mainly being just to be as light as possible. So everything in this car was done to improve over the setup on that car, both in weight and in the way we do everything engine-wise and transmission-wise and maintenance-wise. So everything on this car was done to correct some little issues that we always ran into in this car. So I'm gonna take the front bumper off, I'm gonna take the doors off, and I'm gonna show you everything we've done so far. So here's the car with everything removed off it, so it's really naked. And you can see the new engine bay setup with the intercooler and the fuel cell that John built. So all this stuff was fabbed in-house by our fab guy, John. He does all the custom fab work, and then he does all our production work for our cross members, for our transmission kits, and all of our other transmission parts that we use that need fabrication. John handles all that production work. John made the this header as well. It's really a beautiful setup. John has put a lot of heart and soul into this, you know, probably more heart and soul than I have put into it myself, just because, like I said, it hasn't been my favorite car, but honestly, it's growing a lot on me. And as you can see here, one of the things that's very different on this car than the last car is the firewall and the rest of the chassis. So you can see, like, it has the factory low rockers, but you can see it has a carbon roof. So that's one of the things we did to make this as light as possible. So it has a carbon roof on it, which all the body work still needs to be done on it yet. So all this needs to be filled in and smoothed out. Same with the rear down here. But there's lots of body work to be done. That's the next step after we get it all put back together. I think we're gonna try to start the car up after JR wires it. JR from JR Wiring Solutions is going to come up next week and start wiring this for me. And overall, the ECU setup is going to be the same as the orange car. So a Motec M150, a PDM, Motec dash. It's going to use the Fuel Tech coils, which you can see there. But we made some changes to this car kind of mid-build. So originally I was going to build this car as an X275 car with a factory firewall. And you can see that I still have the frame rail sections here and the shock towers to keep that in place. But after we started talking about this project more and more, I kind of moved away from that X275 because the X275 class is kind of dying, to be honest. There's not many cars running that class. So my fear was like, okay, I'm not going to love this car and I'm going to want to sell it, and no one's going to want to buy an X275 car. So we ended up making it in more of a Pro 275 class where there's not really any rule book as far as the firewall goes. So we did the fabricated firewall, and it might not technically fit into rules for some of the stick shift classes, but honestly, it's crazy. The rule book unfair towards a unibody car like this car, where you have the Corvettes. They can do whatever they want with the firewall because they have a fiberglass firewall, so they can do whatever they want. And then if you have a frame rail car, like for example Nick Coleman's truck, he was able to do a fabricated firewall in his truck. It's only the unibody cars that have rules against the firewall, which to me doesn't make sense. So if they want to protest me on this firewall, that's fine, they can, but I'm running the car. The most important thing with the firewall pretty much is just keeping it in the factory location, which we have done. So yeah, it just cleans up. The Fox body firewalls and the cows are ridiculous. They come up straight here, and they're just a big box. Just wastes so much room. One of the main differences that we're doing with this car over the last setup, the engine is pretty much exactly the same. It's still going to be a 3.2 billet block factory casting head with all the amenities, basically as far as you can go with one of these heads. But you can't see it is still the factory cast head, and then you can see the billet block. But the main difference we're doing engine-wise, just to make it more of a true quarter-mile race car, is an air-to-water intercooler setup. So that's this Plasman PX 2500, and it's really cool. It's got billet end tanks. And then one thing that John built for us here, we don't use wastegates on our setups now. We use a boost bleed off setup. So we just run the turbo at full song and then bleed boost off through that throttle body setup right there. And one of the cool things John did was he made this little adapter bracket to go from one of the burst valves to use the throttle body flange. So we're able to mount that right onto the intercooler. I sell those the throttle body kits on my website if you're interested in trying this out. You have to be careful about your turbo sizing. So on this car, we run a big enough turbo to where we can't really ever overspin it. Like our engine size and our exhaust velocity and our exhaust energy can't ever really overspin this turbo. We kind of sized it so that it's just over that limit so that we never really overspin it, so we don't have to worry about it being ran at full song all the time. And on a race car like this where it makes, maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 passes a year, there's nothing wrong with sending the turbo like that. Other than that, the setup is pretty much the same. You can see this is our icebox. So this will be where we put our ice and water that'll circulate through the intercooler. This is our fuel cell. Oil tank, radiator, because we do run water through this thing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The intake manifold is a Plasma Man one this time. It's their Pro Carb manifold. Runs dual injectors, so we're running some Fuel Tech 700 pounds, and I think we're running the ID 2600 primaries. And then the Fuel Tech coil setup with the FT Spark. And all the electronics are not in place yet, but they will be. Inside the car, like I said, there's no electronics in there yet. We're still working on that. This is the new clutch. I'm gonna pull that out and show that to you in detail. And then the same T56 Magnum setup that I've always run is gonna be in here, which is, this is just a mock-up trans right now, but it'll be one of my Atlas transmissions with the PGS gear set, with our super tall first gear, which is a 198. And that was one of the reasons we made this slight clutch change, which I'll explain here in a little bit. So I noticed in a lot of the comments, people were saying, why did you build this car? Because now you can't race it at World Cup. Originally, I was building the car with a small block Ford, a billet small block Ford, to fit within the rules, so that it would be, you know, a domestic body with a domestic engine. But 2 years ago, they let in Thomas West with the S2000 with the LS in it. So when I saw them doing that, that's when I changed my plans on this car. And I basically said, okay, now I can do exactly what I always wanted to do, which was put the 2J in it. And so 2 years ago, that's when I made a decision to keep the car, put the 2J in it, and finish it out. It's only stick shift class that they allow the crossover stuff like that, where you can run an import engine in a domestic body or a domestic engine in an import body. Chassis wise, it's a 4-link setup, fabricated housing, 9-inch setup. And then one of the coolest things with this setup is, and one of the requirements, like when I had Doug build this car for me, I said, you know, with the Supra, it has the factory tunnel that covers up everything inside here, so you could not see any of that transmission, or couldn't work on the trans. If you had to work on the trans or pull the trans, or if you had to change the clutch disc out, you had to get under the car, drop the transmission down, lean the engine back. So it was a whole ordeal to be able to service this thing. And that's one of the things that I wanted with this car, was serviceability. And one of the things that I asked for, which I've seen in the Pro Stock cars, is the sliding rail system. So you can see here, this trans is on rails with little tubes. And what it allows is for you to just grab it. Let's see if I can do this while I'm holding the phone. So I can just pull that trans back on those rails, slide it back, and be able to get in there to the clutch. So basically, you have to remove the drive shaft, and there's a little tunnel that goes over the drive shaft there as well. But this will be all open in here, which will be new to me. So I'm gonna get like a SFI blanket to put over that trans to protect me in case, you know, a transmission would explode. The bell housing is pretty safe because it's got a titanium liner. Not super worried about that part, but the trans, you know, it is a factory T56 case, so if something would explode, that would be a little bit wild. Differences between this car and the Supra interior wise, like I talked about, was the firewall there. So it's all fab firewall. And then this car is all fab floor. So there's no factory floor in this car at all. It's got carbon panels, aluminum panels, tin work, and carbon fiber everywhere. Basically, whatever we could do to make it as light as possible. Up front, suspension wise, just typical spindle mounts. We got the TBM brake setup on the front and rear. I think we got Menser shocks on the front, and I'll be running the PRS shocks in the rear. This car was kind of planned out to be a true race car and to compete in the class, versus that car was kind of just like the goal was to make a Supra that could go really fast and maybe set the record, which it did. But now the goal is to, again, reset the record with this car, but also make it so that I can be serviceable, and if something breaks trans-wise, clutch-wise, easy to fix. And then also with the lighter weight of the car, just be easier on parts. And the suspension-wise in this thing, the car should do so much better on the short track side of things because of the suspension and the lighter weight. And other thing we were able to do, like on the Supra, we could only run, I think we have a 10.5 or 11-inch wide tire in the back. On this car, we were able to put a 14-inch wheel on there, which is able to stretch that 10.5 tire out more. So basically, you can get more contact patch on the ground with that 10.5 using that wider wheel. So basically, in every aspect of this car, we took advantage of everything that we could do to make it better. And that was the goal. Just make everything absolutely better than that car, than the Supra. And so far, I mean, it is in every way better, and it's definitely gonna be quicker. I don't know how much quicker yet, but with the same power and the lighter weight, man, it should really fly. So I'm excited to see what it will do. Now you know what the weight is. So this car is, once we put fluids in it and a nitrous bottle and have everything in it, it's probably gonna be about 600 pounds lighter than that car, all said and done. So it'll be just under 2,100 pounds. That car was just under 2,700 pounds. So with that said, same power levels, what do you guys think it's gonna run? What's it gonna ET? What's 600 pounds of difference gonna relate to in ET difference? I don't know for sure. There's calculators out there that can do it. But record time, I think so. We got a lot to do yet, but this is it. This is what I've been keeping up under wraps for like the last 4 years. What do you guys think? You guys like it? Hate it? It's kind of a like and hate thing for me too, love-hate thing. Never been a Mustang guy myself, but the chassis, the Fox body setup just makes sense to me. There's just so many available parts out there for these things. They just work. So put the 2J engine in the chassis that works best. Can't really argue with that combination. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna try to continue updates with the build. We'll continue with the paint project, and we'll work through this and show you the car complete, and then we'll go out and test with it. I'll try to make more videos in the future with this car as much as I can when I have time. Thanks, guys.